Okay, if any of our listeners could only take one piece of advice from the entire episode, what would it be? So, what would you tell them? Only one thing from Giselle.
One single piece of advice from this podcast, I think it would be you have to believe in yourself or else no one else will.
Welcome to this episode of the On Brew podcast. We have a very special guest with us. Hi, Giselle.
Hi.
And fun fact about Giselle, she has conquered a lot of things while she's just 14 years old. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So tell us more about you, Giselle.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name's Giselle. As already mentioned, I'm 14 years old. I am based in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I own an organization called Wecarejkt. It's been 2.5 years or so and still ongoing. Our theme, our main focus is basically promoting inclusive human rights development, especially to empower women in Indonesia, but we do look at it in a global perspective too. I have many hobbies, including debate, dance, a few sports here and there, but just for fun, and volunteering in organizations or events.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Like you've done quite a lot. So basically, you started Week at Jakarta when you were, I think, 11 or 12, right?
I was 11, correct.
So we want to put this message out to all of our users. Your age does not really matter, and that is what Giselle really stands for. Like she's a woman in Indonesia, and she's just 14 years of age, and she started Week at Jakarta when she was 11. So really, you can do whatever you want to do, and age is just a number, guys. Like even if you're 10 years old, you want to do something, get started.
Go for it. Definitely. That is really true. That is really correct. That's something that I've always also been passionate about. People have downgraded me just for my age before, but that's never stood in the way of me going places, doing things. So I think, yeah, what you said is very true. Age doesn't matter. Age is just a number. Go for it. Do anything as big as you can.
Exactly. So Giselle, what were some issues that you faced as a young founder?
I think a few issues that I faced as a young founder. Well, first, as we already discussed, I was degraded for my age a few times, especially when I was just starting out. I was only 11, and I think that had a lot to do with I was leading a bunch of older people, which I guess it didn't feel right. I guess that's not really that normal. Especially I was 11 years old, so I wasn't like even an 18-year-old leading some 20-year-olds. It was 11-year-old leading some like 14, 15-year-olds at the time. So I think that was the main struggle.
Exactly, because like working with all of these people who are older to you, and even though you know that they don't think of you as a child, once you reveal your age, they will start thinking of you as a child. So
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly. So like even when I'm meeting new people regarding Meraki or regarding my work, I always avoid telling them what age I am, or like I personally try not to bring up that because I've seen that people usually underestimate other teenagers just because of their
Yeah.
age. Well,
All
that
the
might
time.
be the case, right? Exactly. Okay. So you've also participated in 14 other youth led NGOs and organizations, am I
Yeah.
right? So
Yes, you are
could you
correct.
like name some which has like what have you learned from working with so many NGOs till now, and why will you recommend it to somebody else?
Mm. I think, okay, so what I've learned across these 14 organizations, which excludes some extra clubs that I've joined also, I think the number one skill that I've learned is definitely gaining leadership and teamwork experience. Not only just skill, but the experience itself. Because being part of an organization is definitely an invaluable experience for me. I first started off small. Obviously, I joined like a bunch of smaller organizations and they began to grow and grow until I decided to start my own. So that's one of the skills that I've learned from being in many organizations that I can definitely apply to the rest of my life. Like having these leadership skills and these teamwork skills that can really benefit me in my career, even just in a daily perspective. It can help me in any situation, and it's definitely helped me develop many other skills like problem solving or communication, networking. And on top of that, it's also not always work, work, work. It's also learning about the world, and developing empathy and understanding diverse perspectives. And that will overall build a sense of purpose and personal fulfillment. Honestly, like for me, that's how I felt. Being in organizations wasn't just for the sake of my portfolio. It's because I also wanted to learn about the world, and I also wanted to know, as a teen, how can I create an impact? Because again, a lot of people do tend to underestimate us just for our age, but that is completely unreasonable. We need to show that, we need to prove them wrong. So yeah, that's a few things I've learned.
You're honestly very motivational, and I love the way that you speak. Like, you just sound so confident. Like,
Thank you.
great work. So, how can a little girl or a little boy create impact as as not even a teenager, like as a 12-year-old or 11-year-old?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I do think that the key to creating an impact is that it has to come from within. It has to come as a burning passion that really fuels your motivation, that fuels your dedication. And from there, I think the path will immediately just lie out right in front of you. So anything, literally anything you're passionate about can be turned into creating a social impact. You can be passionate about music and teach kids all around the world about music. Like that is social impact. You can be passionate about fashion and you can teach people all around the world how to create around fashion and stuff like that. There isn't only one way to create a social impact. You don't even have to be you don't have to be a motivate. You don't have to be able to speak. You don't have to be able to publicly speak or be a motivational speaker to create an impact. No, creating an impact is based on your actions, and it's based on your true heart to serve. So if you're asking me like a step by step on how to create a social impact, I think the foundation, the first step that you really have to take is first identify what you're passionate about, because there is no way you can create an impact to others about something that you yourself, it doesn't really matter to you. You know, it has to matter to you, and it has to drive something, to drive a burning passion in your heart, and then you can expand it from there. It won't be hard to do once you find what truly motivates you, what is truly your passion. And from there, it will be easy to find local issues and that matter to you and your community. Just start small, just start with whatever's around you. And then from there, you can also collaborate with peers, collaborate with your best friend, collaborate with your cousin. I started Wecarejkt Jakarta with my cousin almost 3 years ago. And yeah, you can organize events, campaigns, projects with all you have. I understand that as, let's say, in the perspective of an 11 or 12-year-old, we don't necessarily have we don't have much access to that many resources to create like events and stuff like that. But what do we have today in this day and age? We have technology, we have social media, and everyone's on social media. You're on social media, I'm on social media, we all are. It's that easy to just spread awareness there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
and not
think
only
even in Meraki, like in Meraki, that is what we do, right? So like we take these young kids, we take teenagers, we teach them a skill if they don't have one, and we just send them for social work. So you just do internships and volunteering opportunities. So Meraki is all about providing that platform to students who want to do something but don't have the resources for it. Like
of course,
you don't even need to have money. Like we do it all for free. You just need to have the time and the dedication to do that. So I feel
exactly.
that, and it's just not Meraki, like there are multiple organizations in this world who are ready to give you opportunities if you ask. So I think that you just have to like take out your phone and hunt. You're a 10-year-old, ask your mom's phone, ask them, hey, I want to do something, I just don't want to study, I want to do something, maybe I want to draw, I want to draw for a kid.
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
I want to teach a class one ka kid ABCD. Like that's completely okay. You can do that. You just need to get your phone, and I think all opportunities are one Google search away. Like that is how accessible everything has become now,
No, that's really true.
right?
And definitely what you said about like, oh, if it's a 10-year-old and they want to draw for a cause or something like that, of course, use your talents, use your skills, and use your creativity to address problems. Some of us can be artists, and some of us, like me, like myself, can suck at drawing, but that's fine. Like, we all have our own skill sets, we all have our own talents that we're born with. And if you can put that to something that's so much bigger than you are, to something that you can create an impact towards, why not? It's one, what you said, it's one Google search away. Every opportunity is one Google search away. The world is always in need of more help, and you can always be one of them. So
Exactly, exactly. And also, like, I think a very nice tip to very young children, or like, like a more younger crowd, is to just get involved in your school community. So I feel like every school has some sort of club or some sort of community, right? Even
That's
if your
true.
school does not have one, that's the perfect opportunity for you to go up to your teacher or your principal or whoever and tell them that, hey, I feel like we can do something good in this school, and just get something started in your school, right? Like,
Yeah,
why not?
definitely.
And
Definitely.
like,
It's everywhere.
exactly. So even if you're not directly doing any volunteering work in your school, even joining any club is gonna lead you to network, right? So you firstly network with like other people in your school. You tell them that you're interested in social work, and it's very it's very weird. But when you want to do something, I feel like a way just comes out, So
Oh,
you
yes.
never know, exactly, you never know why when an opportunity might present itself to you. So unless you open yourself up to new experiences, opportunities won't come in.
100%. I totally agree with you. And yeah, I guess relating to what you said with like when you really want something, a way will find so it will find its way to you. And that's completely true. You don't even have to seek out for opportunities anymore. It's just it will keep on coming to you as long as you yourself have the drive and the motivation and dedication to do it. And I feel like something that people don't know is that social work or volunteering and stuff, it doesn't take that much time if you put an equal amount of effort to it. If you put a just amount of effort to it, it doesn't take up hours and hours or days of the week. Like, no, you can still definitely balance it with schoolwork. Like, the proof is look at a bunch of the other people, the other teenagers who are still balancing and juggling around schoolwork and stuff. I get that it could be difficult, but if it's something that you truly want and you truly have the desire for, it's not a problem. Time is not a problem, definitely.
Completely agree with you. And like, I feel there's like another thing. So suppose you still don't get any access to clubs or whatever, okay? Like, suppose you don't have the time for it, you can't go out, you can't talk to your school is not open to it. There is another thing that you can do, right? I think that is educate yourself. So
Mm,
why don't you read books on the matter? Watch documentaries. I'm pretty sure no one's parents are gonna have a problem with their child reading a book, right? So if you're passionate about climate change, if you're passionate about educating other people, read books on that. So read a book, read a magazine, watch a document. So basically, whatever you're passionate about, you should be a role model for that. And I think that is also how you can create impact.
yeah, definitely. Because when you learn from other people on something that you like, or not even other people, it could be when you learn from books, when you learn from videos, when you learn from documentaries, what you learn, you can always spread that knowledge and spread that ability to other people who may want it, who may need it. Some people may need it, and you could be their guiding source for that. You could be their mentor. You could be someone that they rely on for these kind of things. And don't you think that's such a cool role to play? Like, it's such a cool role to play, and to be able to be someone's guiding mentor, and not only one person, it could
Exactly.
be more. To be someone who other people, younger people or older people, can look up to, because they know that you know
Definitely.
a lot about this. And yeah, that's great.
Impact has a very ripple effect. It has a domino effect. So what I
Yeah,
mean is that you tell one kid, "Hey, don't litter." That one kid understands what you're saying, and that one kid tells to two other friends. Then those two other friends tell to four other people, and that's how you create like this whole chain reaction, and
yeah,
that is how you actually create impact,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
So you don't always have to like go to every single person one by one to create impact. You can just start this kind of chain reaction, and that is why, like, you see many NGOs have hashtags. I think that's the reason why they do that, to create like this domino effect.
Yeah, definitely, to spread the awareness even further and further. We never know who it could reach, but we would love for it to reach anyone. That's definitely that's true. Yeah.
Exactly. And like, genuinely, to any teenager out there who's listening to us, if you want an opportunity, text me or text Giselle. Both of our organizations are giving amazing opportunities out there to youngsters. So if you this is your chance to grab it, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if somebody wants opportunities, it will come to them. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, yeah, for your organization or mine, we're literally one click away from a registration form. So it's definitely up
Exactly.
to you. It's up to you to do what you want to do and make that happen. And, our organizations like ours are ready to help aid you for it. We're ready to help give you resources for it. And I think that it's an incredible opportunity to have. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Giselle, what are some of the challenges though that you have faced when creating social impact? Because everything has both sides, right? So, it's not
Definitely.
all just easy work. There must have been some challenges. What are those?
There were many, many challenges. I think I've already said this earlier that balancing schoolwork, extracurriculars, and social impact efforts were like extremely difficult. And on top of that, just having a life as a teenager, because obviously we all know, I'm not going to get into this too much, but we all know that as a teenager, you have certain social aspect standards that like people expect you to reach, like you go hang out with your
Yeah,
friends and make time for
definitely.
family too. Like that's a lot of things that you have to balance, right? Like even if you just tell me to do schoolwork on its own, that's already a lot. So like there's a lot of things to balance. I think again, I know I said that time wasn't a problem, but it could be sort of a constraint sometimes. But obviously I've been able to juggle through it because even though it takes a lot, that's exactly why creating a social impact, you don't do it on your own. You do it with a group of people, you do it with a team. That is what our organizations are. We are built on a team. Without our team, without people with their roles, we can't be here today. We can't be as big as we are today. We can't make an impact that is as big as we have created an impact today. So I guess from that, like I would just like to say that to combat the challenge of time, to combat the challenge of like balancing everything, I think you definitely need people to support you too, because the greater amount of individuals that compile together to make an impact, the greater the impact will be. That's just based.
Exactly.
And
Once again, the domino effect.
exactly. And I think another thing that I've already mentioned earlier too was like gaining credibility for your young age. Obviously, we've already gone through that multiple times. But yeah, it could be quite difficult, as well as dealing with limited sources, especially funding. It's quite hard to create an impact without like that much resources to money, to finances. But it's definitely not impossible. It could be difficult, but it's not impossible. And I think those are probably the three main challenges. My top challenge would definitely be either the overcoming like potential skepticism about age, or balancing schoolwork and other things in my life with creating social impact.
Definitely. I think I too face like very similar challenges. Like one challenge that I definitely face is patience. Because when you're working with teenagers, you require a lot of patience, like of course like some of them are there 24/7, but with others what might happen is that suppose you've called 15 of them for an event and 15 of them say that they'll show up. At the end, two or three might show up, and that is the thing when you're working with teenagers because they are very unpredictable, and so you need to set yourself up in such a way that you can deal with that without letting that affect your work. What do you think are some skills that working or social work has taught you, like three very specific skills which you have learned and how?
From social work, okay, I think the first one, I think, as I've already mentioned earlier, was the leadership and teamwork skills that I've gained. I think this is also more focused in the side of creating an impact towards throughout my leadership and teamwork experience. So obviously, leadership and teamwork really go hand in hand. I would say that's like kind of one skill set combined, I guess, in a way, because in a team setting, when you're able to become a leader for that team, I think that's how it goes hand in hand. How I've learned that, it was not easy to develop that skill overnight. It didn't happen overnight. In fact, it took many, many years, and I'm still in the progress of improving that skill. But it's definitely one skill that I've been able to obtain through a bunch of my social work, because I think specifically with being a leader is that you're not supposed to be bossy or mean. You're not supposed to be too much in control of everyone, but you kind of have to have that middle of like, you're still leading people, but you're not controlling them. And I think that was difficult. That's the difficult part sometimes. It's kind of hard to make sure.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you and I both know that it's kind of difficult to
Yeah,
make
and
sure.
like So how do you balance being both a mentor and a friend? I think that's like a very complicated job.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably one of the hardest things about being a founder or a leader or whatever you'd like to call it. I think that's definitely one of the hardest aspects to it is that you don't want people to look at you like someone who's so superior or someone who feels so superior, you know. But like that's definitely not what you want people to perceive you like. You want people to know that oh, this is our collective goal, and I am here to help guide all of you to it. But at the same time, I don't want to be too controlling or mean or like, guys, come on, pick up the pace. You know, like I don't want to be like that. So I think one of the ways that I've like been able to balance, like find a good middle between that is definitely get to know my members more and try to create a positive relationship with them. I think it may be hard for a few people, especially because now like for example us, we're like international organizations collaborating, so we can't like directly meet with each other or necessarily talk to each other all the time, right? But it's definitely helpful and super useful to just show your members that you actually do care about them, and you're not only just like ordering them around to do their jobs, but you actually care about them. Show that you appreciate their efforts that they put into helping your
Definitely.
organization rise. So I think that's one of the main.
Exactly. So because I am a huge believer in constructive criticism.
Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you have complete authority or control over everything. And something that will help you as a leader is actually what you said, the feedback that you get from your members. Because as a leader, you're not born perfect. Definitely not, far from that. And neither is everyone else. We all need each other's support to help each other become better. So that's probably my approach to it.
Exactly, I completely agree with you. Okay, we forgot to mention to talk about one topic. Okay, so like we talked about how age should not be a factor in what you do, right? But of course, we face these challenges. How do you think a child should overcome these challenges of age discrimination or of being looked down upon by others? So, how did you overcome that? How did you deal with those, and how can somebody else deal with those?
Okay, so I would say that my way of overcoming that, I think in the past was probably not the best. Kind of ignored it. I kind of ignored the fact that people used to look down on me for that, and I just didn't let that get in the way. Sometimes it would make me a little bit like skeptical about myself too. But I think as like 3 years later now that I've been able to sort of develop a little bit more wisdom in this part. I think what I would say, how if a little kid is being like looked down on, age discrimination, all that stuff, I think the first thing he or she has to do is probably, I think it's to find it within yourself that you first have to know that you are good enough and keep telling yourself that, because the only opinion that matters is truly what comes is the opinion from your heart. What does your heart think? What do you think of yourself? If you don't think you're enough, then you won't be enough, because if you don't think you're enough, you're not going to believe that you can do things, that you can create impact. And one of the biggest reasons why people tend to not think they're enough is because people tell them that they're not enough, which is basically what age discrimination is. Sometimes a 10-year-old kid could be discouraged because some people say, you're just 10 years old. What can you do? Like, when I was 10 years old, I was just playing some games. Like, then prove them wrong, you know? Like, the first thing you have to do is to truly believe in yourself and find it within yourself that you are confident, that you are better than these people who are downgrading you, just saying. And like you can create an impact truly from the heart. I think that's one thing that's so important, is to believe in yourself, because once you do, then you can really prove those people wrong. Then you can really create an impact, and everything will just work out for the better.
Completely agree with you there, and I feel like there is so much that every individual can offer to this world, right? So
Yeah.
here is like, this is what I want to say to anyone who's listening: do not limit yourself on what others tell you're capable of, right? So your limiting factor should not be what others say. It should be nothing, honestly. Like, I think you can always grow. Even I think any person, like no matter how far you reach, there will always be space for you to get your to become your best self. So there is, honestly, there is no point where you'll be your best self, right? Because you can always become better and better. So do not let anyone discourage you from saying, do not let anyone discourage you by saying that you're not enough, or by you can't do that. Take that as your motivation and prove them wrong. That's what Giselle said, and that's what I believe in.
First, before you start with anything, before you try making an impact, you have to make sure that impact is within yourself first. You have to make sure that that belief is strong within yourself, and then once that's there, that belief can really sprout, that impact can sprout, and it can spread to people. And who knows, maybe along the way you're going to help people believe in themselves too. Creating a social impact is not all about serving those who are unfortunate. It's not all about that. It's also about educating other people who maybe, some of those people could even be more well educated than you are, but those people may not know some things that you do. And in that way, you can create a social impact throughout those people. There are endless ways to create a
Exactly.
social impact. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So, Giselle, if you had to give three recommendations, okay, it can be books or podcasts or any learning material. It can also be a documentary, a movie, whatever, okay? What are three recommendations that you would give to any person?
In order to learn about social impact, or
Anything that has provided you with the most valuable content.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So, as so me, I don't necessarily read nonfiction books too often. I do love reading novels and stuff, but I don't read nonfiction books too often. But I think that one thing that one of the sources, the first one that gave me a lot of insight is definitely reading like online articles or magazines, valuable content, valuable information. It would be just the news, honestly, whether it's through the newspaper. I know we don't read newspapers anymore, so like online newspapers or magazines or articles, or the TV, whatever. Oh, wow, you do. Okay, that's great. Or whatever is on the
I don't,
TV.
I don't. It was just there. I don't really do
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah. And then the second one, I would say, I think this one is a teenager can't fight it. It's social media. Social media, although could be sometimes a toxic place where hoax spreads and fake information and all of that spreads, but it is really easy to access very valuable information in social media. It could be through organizations, it could be through their researches, it could be through just individuals who create an impact amongst others. And I think if you just take the time to scroll on TikTok for something that's a little bit more valuable than, people pranking people or something like that. I know it's always great to have fun, to just scroll on your phone and like start laughing and all that, but it's not hard it is one click away to find
Exactly.
valuable content on social media. And I think organizations like the Meraki and also Wecarejkt Jakarta, we're here to sort of to help aid that, to help, like, we are definitely one click away from providing you with valuable information about what is going on around the world and what we can do as teenagers to help throughout those issues in this world.
Thank you, Giselle. And with that, we come to the end of today's podcast. And I completely agree with what you said. If you don't believe yourself, no one else is going to do that. So you have to be your own boss. You have to be your own cheerleader at the end of the day. And I loved that piece of advice, Giselle. I plan to implement that on my own in my own life very soon.
Yeah,
So
I'm
thank
still
you.
trying to implement it myself. So yeah, it's a work in progress.
Exactly. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I absolutely loved having you as a guest.
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you so much for the sweet words. It's been a pleasure. It's my honor, honestly, to be featured on this podcast. I think the Meraki is doing a really, really great, outstanding job with your organization, with your values. I honestly admire what you tend to do with aiding people all over the world with resources available for them to create an impact. So thank you so much, honestly. And I think this appreciation is not only coming from me, but from anyone who's been involved with your organization from this podcast. But I really do hope that everyone learned a little bit of something new or just get a fresh reminder of something that's really important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Giselle. And we'll see you soon, definitely. Bye bye. Have a great day. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.